Hey YouTube, it's time to get out in the garden. It is May 3rd. I'm in the greenhouse. I'm going to do a couple things in the greenhouse and then I'm going to be putting some things in the ground, and I thought I would just share with you what I plant in early May here in our Northwest US garden. We're zone 5B to 6A, I believe, depending on which chart you look at. So I'll show you what I'm planting inside and then we'll go outside and start putting some things in the raised beds outside direct sow. So let's check out what to plant in early May in the colder climates in the US. All right, I have some pots already full of dirt here, which I have a lovely pile of basically potting soil right outside my greenhouse. And this is the straw that was in here this winter. That will go in the beds in the garden later. I have a list. Always bring a notebook and a pen because you want to make notes of what exactly you're planting, the date, how many, the variety, all of that. Plant labels. Just a basic Amazon pack of quick plant labels to use. Sharpie to write on those, and then here are my handy little storage containers, and this is how I bring them out. I just throw the ones I need in a bag, carry them out. So what we're going to be doing in the greenhouse in these pots right here is just going to be cantaloupe, because I have bad luck with cantaloupe and I like to start it early if I can. And squash, I'm going to be doing probably 4 different kinds of squash, which we'll do some acorn squash, butternut, crookneck squash, and zucchini, because we save a lot of the crookneck and zucchini freeze dried as ready-made dishes, and then acorn and butternut we store through the winter, which are really nice varieties and I love them. Plus you can make really good butternut soup. And these are the things that are going to go out in the actual raised beds. I'm going to do a couple of arugula, not too many, because arugula is big and you don't need that much of it. We'll do a little bit of beets. I still have quite a few beets left canned on the shelf, so I don't need a lot of beets and I don't need a lot of carrots. But I like to do a mix of carrots and parsnips together, so I'll probably do that this year to roast some of those. We're going to do a little bit of collards and lettuce. We're going to just do succession planting lettuce. I'll probably plant about a 12-inch row with just a few seeds, because you have to think how many salads are you going to eat in a week, because your lettuce ends up going to waste or you end up feeding it to the chickens or the pigs or whatever. So just do a few every week. Just plant a few more lettuce each week. I'm going to probably do onions. We're going to start some peas, and I don't do a lot of peas because if you saw my prior video, I don't find them worth the hassle. The time it takes to pick them and shell them and get them to ready to eat is just, it's just too time consuming. I love peas. I have like a love-hate thing with peas. Radishes, same as lettuce. Just do a few. Like, how many radishes can you eat in a week? So plan on succession planting your radishes in like 12-inch rows at a time, and just do one every week. I'm going to put my spinach in the ground now because it needs an early start, and we'll probably do some Swiss chard because we both really love Swiss chard for fresh meals. So it looks like I'm going to start a few more things than I thought, because I found honeydew seeds. So I'm going to do cantaloupe and honeydew. We're going to do patty pan, crookneck, and add pumpkin, because I forgot about the pumpkin. We have to have pie pumpkins. Butternut squash, spaghetti squash, because also we love spaghetti squash, acorn squash, and zucchini. So those are going to be the things we'll put in the greenhouse pots, and I probably need to put a few more pots in another tray. So I'll do that, and then we will jump over to the things that are going out in the garden. All right, and I've just stuck labels in like this that just go in all of these. And the thing with squash, sorry if you can hear all the noise, I've got wind blowing and there's a rose scratching on the outside of the greenhouse. One of the things I will tell you about planting squash, do not plant too many. If you can see, I only have 2 zucchinis here. You do not need more than like 1 or 2. I make them, we'll plant them in a mound. Once they go out in the garden, they'll be in a raised mound, just probably 3 plants in 1 mound, and that's all I will do. I have this memory of someone I know once that was new at gardening. It was like, I got my garden planted, I planted a whole row of zucchini, and I was like, oh my gosh, a row of zucchini is enough to feed a town. So just do a couple. We're doing 3 acorn squash, 3 butternut, 2 zucchini, 2 crookneck, 2 patty pan, 2 spaghetti, and then I've got 4 pumpkin, because these are pie pumpkins and I don't end up getting a lot of them, so I'm going to do 4 plants. And we have lots of room in the garden. We've got 5,000 square feet to spread out in, so I'm not worried about the space. I try to find heirloom varieties and always organic varieties if I can. So look for certified organic. I do really like strictly medicinal seeds for herbs and vegetables. And the other place I've had really good luck with seeds is actually Eden Brothers for organic heirloom varieties. And I try to start with my packs. You will see on the back of the pack, usually you'll see an expiration date on the back. And I'll try and start with my oldest seeds first because I want to use up my oldest. And don't throw your seeds out if they're, you know, they're not from last year. I have planted seeds from so long ago, you can't believe it. Like, I think this year I planted tomato seeds from like 2013. I mean, they're really, really old. If you keep them well, cool and dry, they are going to be fine to use for years into the future. So don't throw out your seeds just because they're not this year's seeds. You know, they weren't packed for this year. You're wasting seeds if you do that. And with squash seeds, I'll usually plant really any of these seeds that are bigger, you know, where you can actually see the size of them. I'll plant about 3. Usually I just go with 3 per pot, but I'll just put them in kind of a little triangle pattern on top of the soil. And then I just give them a push down to kind of whatever depth. Usually the seed pack will tell you what depth to plant at. And then I just kind of cover them with some dirt and move on. So that's all I do for my seeds when I'm doing pots. And that way I know I can check my germination rates, because I know that each of these pots had 3 seeds, and if I only get 1, or if I got 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3, I'll know, you know, I'll know what percentage of germination I'm getting out of that particular packet. And I do like the seed packs that have all the instructions on the back about how deep to plant, how far apart to space them, sort of some general guidelines for planting. Not all packs have that, but they are handy when they do. And you can see the date on these is 2019. So we're going to be planting butternut from 2019 and see what we get for germination. And again, like I said, if they don't come up, we'll just throw that pack out and start some newer ones. And the reason I start these in the greenhouse rather than just right in the ground, because I have done that. I've only used this greenhouse for the last 2, this is only my 2nd time using it. And I've been gardening on this property for 22 years, 23, we've been here 25 years, and we've had a garden for most of that time here. And I used to just always plant them right in the ground, or plant them under lights inside, you know. But it's just to get them a little bit of a start so that they're up to a decent transplantable size before you put them in the garden, because especially things like zucchini and especially broccoli and cauliflower, which you probably can see in the background, I already have those growing here from last month. Those are very yummy for birds, and we have a lot of quail that live here, and they actually get right in the garden, and they will eat the heck out of your broccoli and cauliflower and even cucumber seedlings. But I had a year where I planted zucchini over and over and over, and they just kept eating them and eating them and eating them. I don't think I had to put a little cage over the seedlings to keep the birds out of them. They were so persistent. And I also make a note of what variety, as you're writing these down, write down how many you did, but also make a note of what variety you did, so you can look for that same one later if you find something you really like. My scallop squash, I call them patty pans. I don't know if anybody else calls them that, but I do. These are from 2020. And patty pan squash, same thing. You do not need more than like 2 plants of these, and once they start producing, you probably won't be able to keep up. But if you have a freeze dryer, you can make a delicious patty pan, kind of like a patty pan and cheese, not really a casserole, but it is so good. And I make it in giant batches and then freeze dry it, and it is so amazing to just pull out in the winter and reconstitute this and have it for a quick meal. It's one of our favorite things. Patty pan scallop squash, super delicious. The same goes for crookneck. You don't need more than like 1. Usually I'll just do 1 mound. I'm planting 3 seeds in each pot, but I will probably not get that kind of germination from these because these were packed for 2020. They may all germinate. If they do, I'll probably just thin them out. Even at the rate that I freeze dry, and I saute and freeze dry these with butter and cheese like we do the patty pans, or you can do a mix of both. Or these with zucchini, so good. But also, too many is definitely a thing. You do not want too many crooknecks or zucchinis. And I only have 2 seeds for spaghetti squash, so we're going to put 1 in each pot and see what kind of germination we get. It's usually not my thing to put only 1 seed in a pot, but here we are. That's literally all I have left, and I need to probably save some seeds for next year. These are from everwild.com, organic spaghetti squash, and these are just small pie pumpkins. I don't think these are organic, but they are from 2019, so we're going to give those a try. I'm going to plant 4 pots, and because these are big, they'll be big seedlings, I'm just going to put 2 seeds in each pot, because I'm always kind of okay with expecting that the germination might be 50% on these, but usually they all come up. This is just kind of to give myself the extra one in case one doesn't, and then I don't have to start over. And I am also going to plant some sugar baby watermelons, and these are from Eden Brothers as well, because if you've never tried freeze-dried watermelon, oh my goodness, it's like candy. It's so good. We tried it here last year and I was blown away at how cool watermelon is when it is freeze-dried, and then you can just put it in like a canning jar and put a lid on it and seal it up for the, you know, the autumn. You're not going to get it through the winter because you're going to eat it too fast, but it is such a treat. And I'm putting about 3 seeds in each pot here too, and I will probably thin them to 1 or 2 per pot once they come up, and then they'll each go in their own on their own mound with some space to spread out because they vine quite a bit. These honeydew are from 2014, so we're going to see what kind of germination we get with seeds that are going on 11 years old, if you can believe it. And I'll bet you that they germinate, so we'll find out. And I'm on my last bit, and this is the cantaloupe, and these are also old. These are from 2017, so again, you don't have to throw out your seeds, and you don't need to buy all new seeds every single year. Don't, you know, like that's just, I don't know if that's what's recommended, but I just have never done it, and I have never had it fail. Occasionally you'll be like, well, those are too old, nothing came up. I mean, you can tell because they won't come up. But for the most part, you're going to get some germination on seeds that you would think would be too old to keep, so don't throw out your seeds. All right, these have all been watered, and the last thing I do is just put a little piece of clear plastic wrap over the top, just to create a little bit of a greenhouse within a greenhouse effect, so it keeps some of that moisture and condensation in there as these seeds are trying to germinate. And that's all there is to the greenhouse starting. And I'm going to head out to the garden and we'll start putting some things in the raised beds. Okay, so it has been actually 2 days since we saw each other in the greenhouse, and we're going to continue with planting these beds. These were the beds we put in last year, and once I got out here to plant, I realized I needed to bring the tractor over and top them up with some dirt real quick, which took about 7 hours to top these up with a whole bunch more dirt. Then we haven't mulched them because we decided to take a vacation instead, which was great. So planting continues. Here is the notebook that I always have with me, and I keep notes of everything I'm planting, and I'm squeezing things in here and there because this is what I do. So these are culinary herbs, really, more or less. Right here we've got oregano, I'll have basil, there's parsley. So this is going to be where I'm putting a small collard and Swiss chard planting back there, and then right here we're going to do lettuce, arugula, and radish. Also, this is my favorite tool. It has a little pointed end and a little rake end, and I use this for every time when I'm doing little rows of seed things. So I'm going to put lettuce. This is oregano, which ends up being a garden thug here, so I'm going to go a little bit away from that and try and keep it trimmed up this season. But lettuce, again, you don't want to have too much, and I'm just going to succession plant. So I just do a little tiny line, maybe a foot, and I just want maybe 3 heads of lettuce per week, because I know that's about all we're going to go through. And then I'll leave myself some space here to do more, and I do the same thing with radishes. So radishes will get I'll probably do a couple of rows of radish. Same thing, I just do little 1 foot rows, and they won't be super deep. And I'll just do them. I like to do them close enough together where you can take a hand tool like this and get between them to do easy weeding if you need to. So I'll usually put my rows about that far apart just so I have space to work that little hoe in between the rows. So I'll do a couple of rows of radishes, and then as we pick them, we'll be planting more on both sides here. And then I'm going to put just about maybe 4 plants of each of collards and Swiss chard, just to have fresh and maybe freeze some for later. And I already planted my beets in here with some of my herbs. This is wood betony, and that is golden seal. And then I have a gap there that I'll put something else in. But the beets are already planted right here. I've got 4 rows of beets in this little space. They're just going to be for pickled beets because I still have enough canned, so I don't need a lot of beets. And I'm going to have parsnips in this 4-foot section. Same thing. I'm just going to put a row for the seeds and space them apart enough so I can work a hoe in between them as they grow. And these are actually seeds that I harvested from our plants last year or 2 years ago, 2023. So we'll be using those seeds. And then this bed that's open, all 8 feet of it is open. So we're going to do the same thing here. And this will be Walla Walla onions. And I usually store those for the winter. And then carrots, which I love to roast with the parsnips. So the parsnips will be back there, the carrots will be here. And I'm just going to divide this bed almost in half. I want more onions than I do carrots because I still have a lot of carrots in the pantry in jars. And this one will have, because this gets shade in the afternoon from these bushes, so this will be where I'm putting spinach probably. And if I can get that one filled here really quick, I'll put peas in that one and they'll get some serious shade through the afternoon. So that is what I'm doing with the raised beds and a little bit of intensive planting in between some of my herbs that are smaller this year. So I hope this helped you to see what I am planting in early May in the raised beds. And I still have a lot of work in front of me, so I'm going to say goodbye and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.